What is a Disney World secret that you know? If you meet someone who says they work for Disney and you ask them if they dress up as a character and they say, "No. But I'm friends with Mickey." They are Mickey. I used to know a girl who was a bunch of different princesses in the parks and on the cruise lines. And she used to say that Alice was her friend. Or her friend Rapunzel. etc. The cast members usually refer to their respective characters as their friend. I knew someone who worked at Disney World in Orlando and said they release cats at night after the parks close to control the rodent population. They collect the cats at the end of the night and keep them in the underground series of offices and pathways they use to make navigating the parks easier. I wonder whose nightmare job it is to herd the cats back to their lair. Not much a secret, but a testament to their attention to detail. My parents once ran into a confrontation in the bathroom. Two janitors were being chewed out by a guy in a suit. Said suit takes glove and wipes the sink to show the very minimal amount of grime and is chastising them pretty seriously. And then takes a towel to clean too. 2 weeks later they see a magazine cover and it's the exec who ran Disneyland. A guy making millions paying attention to the jobs of the guys making so much less. There's a cast member only recreation area called Mickey's Retreat. It has all sorts of recreational activities like basketball courts, baseball diamonds, etc. It also has water sports equipment like paddle boats. It's only for cast members and their immediate family though. There's hidden cast member only stores inside the parks. The underground tunnels actually smell and are incredibly hilly. It used to take me 20 minutes to walk from my location in the park to the employee shuttle via the underground tunnels. A lot of things at Disney are designed to tell a story. Ever notice how you can't just drive to Magic Kingdom and you have to take the monorail, a boat, or a bus and walk in? That's because the Imagineers want to transport you back in time to a town called Marceline where Walt grew up. Main Street is modeled after a typical small town Main Street but with his hometown playing a role in a lot of details. From there MK is set up like a hub-spoke system to help manage traffic in the park. Most people naturally head towards the left and go clockwise. The spokes, the hub being the castle, lead to each land. At Hollywood Studios, there are offices hidden in the parks as well. Imagineers work in these offices. They come out every day for the dining with an Imagineer guests. Imagineers aren't just people who design rides, movies, games, or the like. Imagineers can also be librarians, historians, and even chefs. Tinkerbell flying over the Magic Kingdom is one of the most iconic parts of the Wishes nighttime spectacular. But it doesn't happen with magic alone. Tink is given a hefty push from the window of Cinderella's castle. But if she's not shoved hard enough, she won't have enough momentum and will need to hand her way towards the end. Cast members who audition for this part are said to need major upper body strength turns out. They really do have to fly. Ginger cake at the Japan restaurant in Epcot is divine. So many people skip Epcot. But the food is fantastic back in World Showcase. I will never understand why people skip Epcot. The World Showcase by itself is enough of an attraction. I would love to see that somehow expanded. Disney is the second largest purchaser of explosives in the country, right behind the military. Tower of Terror is randomized in amount of drops on every ride. There is a special lounge in Spaceship Earth that only employees of the sponsoring company, Siemens, can enter. The termite mounds in Kilimanjaro safaris are actually fake and are in fact feeders for the animals. You can take a behind the scenes tour of living with the land in Epcot. There is a Starbucks in every park in WDW. I've read about 3 books on Disney World. But most secrets are what I've come across myself. On Tom Sawyer Island, if you find a paintbrush, give it to a cast member and get a free fast pass. These are usually located in the caves. Emergency plan B: when the park is super crowded, they open up the right side of Main Street and take you behind the buildings leading you straight into Tomorrowland. This has happened to me once. And I can't unsee Main Street now. There is an underground system of tunnels under Disney World. You can do a tour but it cost. The names on the headstones at Haunted Mansion are of the Imagineers that created it. Also, not one haunted mansion is alike. They are all based on real places with their own unique story. Disneyworld is actually on a second floor. When you enter the park, you must walk up. This is because on the ground level or first floor is where they put their underground tunnels to transport workers secretly throughout the park. They couldn't actually build underground tunnels since Disney World is on swampland. Club 33. One of my dad's med school roommates has been a member since he was a kid and we went with him once. All I remember was the cost of the burger I had. $55. I was 12. Apparently they went and hired Andrew Sutton to turn the club into a 5-star restaurant. If a cast member asks you if you want to have a magical Mickey day, they are asking if you'd like to skip the entire line. I've been to Disney World probably 10 times. This only happened the one time I took my daughter who uses a wheelchair. It truly was a magical day. Best WDW trip I ever had, besides my first. When I was 8. In high school my marching band was part of a parade. They had us come around the back and drive through this very dense forest area with a road. It led to a massive area with building for changing and a few restrooms. The buildings were only at ground level so they didn't overtake the trees hiding them. When we were starting the parade, they led us out to large gate that opened. When we looked back it was a false wall for the area. We saw it close because we were the last group in the parade. When we came back the next day to have fun and relax, I decided to go and look at the wall. There is no way you could tell it was a large door from that side. The amount of effort put into all of the areas is phenomenal. The Beatles officially broke up at Disney World. John Lennon signed a contract that legally dissolved the band while he was staying at the Polynesian resort across from Cinderella's castle. Also Nixon's I Am Not a Crook television address was filmed inside Disney's contemporary resort where he was staying as a guest. Disneyland secret. They will call you out if you're doing it on a Small World. And if you want a private boat in Small World, go during the off season in the middle of the week and during a parade that goes right by a Small World. Usually no one is there and the boat is all yours. Works for Pirates of the Caribbean as well during the light show. They won't call you out during boat 6 but will cheer you when you get off the boat. I was with a friend on the Pirates ride a few years ago, and he decided he was gonna stand up and see if he could jump off and get into bed with the skeletons surrounded by riches. He stood up on the boat, and literally as soon as he did a voice came over the loudspeaker yelling please sit down. He did. On employee only nights, Jungle Cruise is nothing but lewd dirty jokes. I was on it once with only me and a group of Asians tourists that did not speak a word English. The captain caught on pretty quickly that I was the only one understanding him and started with some pretty dirty jokes. Not really a secret, but finding the hidden Mickeys is always fun, because they are just everywhere. I bought my 7 and 8-year-old the Hidden Mickeys book on our last trip. They love to hunt them down. All employees are called cast members because everyone is part of the show. Fur characters are those who wear masks like the Fab Five and the Chipmunks. The Mice Ducks are all under 5 feet 0 inches tall and there have been times when a girl will be friends with Mickey while a man will be friends with Minnie. There is a waiting list to work rides like Haunted Mansion and Hollywood Tower of Terror. There is a cast member only store at both parks where damaged merchandise, larger size items that used to be in parks and resorts, and retired merchandise go. CMs and their family and friends can buy these items for up to 75% off. One of my favorite household purchases is an end table that came from one of these locations known as Property Control. Behind the CM store is where a lot of the animal dung from Animal Kingdom will go, and during the summer the smell is less than pleasant. It will also get on your car on windy days. Used to work at the store and it was less than thrilling to find. If you're tired of the crowds or the heat, either go to the Hall of Presidents between showtimes and chill in the shop part, or to the Stave Church Gallery in Epcot, Norway. It's rarely got people in it. There is also an outlet where you can charge your devices. There is a podcast called Stuff They Don't Want You to Know that goes deep into the secrets of how Disneyworld property was bought and how they blamed the Ford Motor Company for buying up all the land so they could get it for cheap. Lots of shell companies used to purchase real estate on how the names of the stores on Main Street. Did laundry for Disney for many years over a decade ago. Most costumed characters stink to high heavens. The crotch area of every pair of pants smelled like rank armpit on all of them. Why you smelling costume crotches? We did their laundry. There was no avoiding them. Just opening a dryer sometimes hit you right in the face with bowl stank. Just washing sheet doesn't kill the bacteria that causes that odor. That was the worst part. Clean costume stank. Don't know if it still applies because I think they changed the morning rules, but you can get breakfast reservations way before park open. They let you in and only the paths to the restaurants are open, but the photographers are out. Great way to see a quiet Magic Kingdom and get low crowd photos. It was awesome. If your kid drops their ice cream or loses their balloon, you can ask a cast member for a replacement. Also, if a kid is sick all over themselves, they will give you clean clothes, or at least they did to my nephew when he was ill a few times. He had a medical issue and it caused him to puke randomly. They just ushered him aside and asked what size he was and came back with some clothes for him. Oh, I'm a cast member. There's a Subway sandwich shop in every park, but just for cast, and I honestly thought that was the coolest thing ever. Also, Mickey is, almost, always a girl. Edit, if anybody wants to ask me anything about working for the mouse, go for it. I had a friend who worked as a cashier at Disney and she told me a few fun facts. No gum is sold in park shops. Security personnel are often dressed normally to blend in. And they won't immediately apprehend shoplifters because they don't want to break the atmosphere. Instead, they follow shoplifters until they can confront them more discreetly. If a child breaks a souvenir they've purchased, the staff has permission to give the child a free replacement. Walt Disney's two-finger point you see in all the pictures of him around the park is really a picture of him smoking, with the cigarette edited out. And the cast members pointing people using the stands is to avoid offending foreigners, where it's a sign of disrespect to use one finger. Stay at an on-site hotel and stay in the park later. These are known as extra magic hours. But when I worked there we would always refer to them as extra tragic hours. On the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland, the trucks cannot go backward. At one point during the ride, the truck going in reverse is simulated by all of your surroundings being moved away from you. Before the trucks were installed during the ride's construction, a friend of mine, a cast member, got to walk the ride and said everybody, without fail, would fall over during that part on foot. Sorry, not Disney World. Edit, fall over because it's disorienting. Their eyeballs said we're going backward, but their feet were getting different signals. I have a tip more than a secret. The most amazing night to be at Disney World is on the 4th of July. Step outside the Magic Kingdom and find a spot by the lake. When you hear the first firework, look up and you will have a near 360 firework display. The California Grill at the Contemporary Resort also has an amazing view from inside and on the outdoor patio. Oh, just thought of one more. The characters dressed up as princesses and princes are totally into their character. Watch videos of actors as Gaston. I've also heard Princess Jasmine will call you my prince and not to the little kids. Warning, may make some wives GFS jealous. Walt's apartment in Disneyland used to have a fire pole in it that Walt would use to leave the apartment. But one day an adventurous guest climbed up it while Walt was talking with some friends. They removed the fire pole shortly after. Why do the restrooms at Animal Kingdom have doors on them when the other parks don't, you ask? Well, if an animal escapes, guests will be instructed to go to the nearest restroom and close and lock the door once full. When you're in one of the marching bands that plays in the parade, the cast members still have to be friendly, but they get to do it in a really funny, sassy sort of way. For example, a woman was warning us to not walk into some yellow posts, but then she said, "I'll laugh at you if you do," in the cheeriest voice you'll ever hear. I have a co-worker who used to be Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty in Disney World. said he had to make up a personality just to keep things going because Prince Philip has no personality. Edit. For work I do character gigs and Prince Charming is the toughest one to do because Prince Charming has no personality. I have to make up a lot of backstory on the spot. Not Disneyworld. Disneyland. Backstage no one is allowed to walk around barefoot ever. There is random debris. Especially from the fireworks, and Disney does not want to get sued if someone hurts themselves on something. Every once in a while one of the fireworks will not explode and may fall in the backstage area and they have to hope it doesn't hit anyone because they are very heavy. The person telling us about this pointed to a massive dent in a metal awning that was the result of one of the duds. Also the woman who plays Tinkerbell flying around about the shows on a wire is usually chosen because she is shapely, but she also has to be a relatively good sized woman. Since she is only being seen at a distance by pretty much everyone, she can't be overly petite. Also there is a mattress in the top of the Matterhorn where her wiring ends so that she doesn't hit the wall when she comes in for a landing. This was coming from a friend of mine who worked for Disneyland during college. Technically in Disneyland, but if you go on the Winnie the Pooh ride, there's still a part of Country Bear Jamboree there. Right after the heifer lumps and woozles part. Look straight up, you may have to crane your neck around. Max, Buff and Melvin are there to say hello. Here's how you max out your points on the Buzz Lightyear shooting ride thing at the Magic Kingdom in Orlando. Once you pass the orange robot, turn around. There's a target on the back of his fist. Shoot that 10 times. You're welcome. Back in the 80s, there used to be a trailer park for the foreign workers in Epcot. They tended to be horribly treated, both pay and hours. Because if they complained, their visas got revoked and nobody ever saw them again. Also, those people like to party. One year, while putting away the Halloween decorations and putting up the Christmas decorations, they accidentally left a black cat decoration behind. Since then, every year when they decorate for Christmas, they hide the black cat somewhere in the park amongst the Christmas lights. Edit. Forgot to mention. This is in Hollywood studios. There is an entire underground city and road system to maintain everything and so workers can get around efficiently. All of the woven art, signs, ceilings, etc. in Pandora, the world of Avatar, are made from an invasive species of vine that was polluting waterways in tropical parts of the world. Keeping with Animal Kingdom's theme of conservation, the vines were removed and dyed for the decorations, in the process cleaning the waterways and helping remove the invasive species. The dolphins at Nemo's pavilion are all boys and named Kyber, Calvin, Rhino, and Malabar. Sometimes they like to be silly and swim with their junk out. Yes. Parents complain and ask CMs if we can get them to stop. The manatees, Lil Joe and Lou, like to practice their mating moves on each other. TLDR, animals are horny and the woven art in Pandora is more than just pretty. Edit. Stella, the newish baby elephant, is claimed to be the first naturally conceived elephant in North America. Her dad is Mac,